Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome. If not, welcome back. I'm Coretta. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to print larger images for sublimation using an Epson EcoTank 2750. I will be showing you how I made this rhinestone sublimation t-shirt using an 8.5 by 11 sublimation paper with image that was sized at 10 by 10. The supplies you will need to complete this project would be sublimation paper. I got this from Amazon. Heat tape that I got from Amazon. A ruler that I got from my local office supply store. Scissors or an Exacto knife, and you can pick these up in any craft store. I'm going to have some crystal hot fix rhinestones that I got from the Baby's Booty buy-in, and she's on YouTube, and her Facebook group is called the Hoop Group, so check her out. She does these buy-ins every month. I have some flock that I got from Heat Transfer Warehouse, some transfer tape that I got from Amazon, and I have a t-shirt that I purchased from Walmart, and it is 100% polyester because we're going to be sublimating an image onto the shirt and then adding rhinestones. Let's get started with this tutorial by opening up Silhouette Studio. When we open up Silhouette Studio, the first thing we want to do is make sure that the page setup is on 8.5 by 11. And to do this, you would select the page setup panel icon on your right hand side, and you would select this. You would select the first icon, page setup. You will make sure that your paper size is on letter, or you can customize it to whatever size you want. You want to make sure your orientation is on portrait. You want to make sure your cutting mat is on none. And you want to make sure that your show print borders is selected. Next, we will go to our print preferences by going to the top left and selecting File, Print Page Setup. And here we're going to make sure that the paper size is letter and that the orientation is set on portrait. After doing this, we are now ready to prepare our image. Let me also mention that I am using Silhouette Studio's Business Edition. You can do this process in the basic edition. You just have to use a JPEG or a PNG image. We will now add our SVG images that we need to create our sublimation design. I purchased this file from an Etsy shop named Xcellent Dreamz. I will put the information below. To add the images to the canvas, you would go to File, Merge, and then you would select the images that you want to add to the canvas. And you would do this for every file that you want to use to design your image. For this particular template, there are multiple files that I'm going to be using to create my design. And as you can see, they all came in flipped horizontally for vinyl cutting. So they're mirrored for the sake. They're already mirrored for vinyl cutting. I'm going to be doing sublimation, and my printer is set up to mirror the image when I print. So I am going to flip these images horizontal so that I can view them in the correct way by selecting them all and right clicking to flip horizontal. Next, I am going to align each design how I would like them and then group them. So I'm going to move this to this gray area here. And you can use this gray area here to work in, to position, to work in, to design and create in. And you don't have to just use the white mat. You can use this area as well. So here I am just aligning the files the way that I want them to be before I position them to create the design that I'm going to sublimate onto my shirt. And here I'm just trying to make sure that I don't have any of the, I want it to be a totally black design. And it came in that way, so I have to group them to get the look that I want. So here I have the files arranged how I want them. And now I'm just going to align the design the way that I want the design to be. And here I have it aligned, and I'm going to select both of them and I'm going to group them. Now that we have our design how we want it, we can see that the total design is 10.157 in width and 9.416 in height. Because we are printing from an Epson EcoTank 2750 and printing on 8.5 by 11 sublimation paper, our design is too big for the paper. Because the design is too big for our paper, we need to split the design. And anytime you need to split an image within Silhouette Studio, you need the design or the image to be a PNG or a JPEG. And the reason why you need a PNG or a JPEG is because Silhouette Studio is limited with its internal tools to divide a graphics that has a whole bunch of, a lot of pieces to it. So you need it to be flattened as a PNG or a JPEG image is. So the design we have here on the screen was created using SVGs. So we need to make this a PNG. And you can only do that with Silhouette Studio's Business Edition. So I'm going to make this design a PNG. And to make it a PNG, you would select your design, go to File, go to Save Selection, Save to Hard Drive, and you would name your file, and then you would change your save as type to PNG and hit OK. Here you would select the transparent background and move your dots per inches all the way up and hit save. Once you've saved the design as a PNG, you want to add it to your canvas. And so we don't get confused, I'm going to change the color of this design and move it over just a little bit because we want to be able to reference the size of it. And we're going to add the PNG by going to File, Merge, finding the PNG that you created and clicking OK so that it adds to the canvas. Here you can see that the PNG did not come in at the size of the original design because this is 13.643 in width and 12.647 in height. And our original design is 10.157 in width and 9.416 in height. And so we want to change the PNG to match the design of the original design that we had with the SVG. So we're going to put 10.157 in the width and hit enter. And we're going to put 9.416 in the height and hit enter. And now you have a design, a PNG that is the same size as your original design. So I'm going to move this out of the way. Now we have our PNG. We can proceed with splitting this design for printing. And to split this design, you would go to your left and select from your drawing tool the square. Click anywhere on the gray screen and draw a square. Draw a square. We are going to size this square to 8.5, enter, by 11. This square will be the same size as our print page. And we use this square as a sizing guide or a representation of our print page. We will position this square over our design where we want to split our design. And after we position it where we want to split it, then we are going to go to the replicate panel on the right. And then we are going to select that. We're going to select the duplicate to the right. And we have another square here. We're going to tab over 3 times to create an overlap. We're going to create this small overlap because we want to make it easier to line our design up when we cut the white edges off. We want to make sure that we want to make it easier to piece the design together. So we create this small overlap. And you will create these boxes with small overlaps for as many times as you need to cover your design. So here we only needed 2 boxes to cover the design. Once you have covered your design, then you will select the design and the boxes and you will duplicate them as many times as the boxes that you created. So here we only had 2 pages. So we are going to duplicate the design 2 times. Now that we've duplicated, we're going to work with the first image by removing one of the 2 squares, and then we're going to crop the image into the square. So to do so, we would delete one of the squares, highlight the square and the image, go to our modify panel on the right, select the modify panel, and then select crop. And then we crop that image into the first square. For the second image, we already have the first one side. Now we need the other side. So we're going to delete the box from the side that we already have, and then we're going to select the box and the image, go to our modify panel and hit crop. So now we have the image into 2 pieces, and as you can see here, they fit. So now we're ready to print. To print, you would simply add your image to the canvas, to your print page. You would go to File, Print, and you would select your printer, your sublimation printer. You would check you would select your preferences. Here I have presets, but you can select your presets. So for me, I'm going to select the A-Sub 8.5 by 11 plain paper. I'm going to make sure that it says 8.5 by 11. It's color. Then I'm going to go to more options, and I'm going to make sure it still says 11.5 by 8.5 by 11, and the mirror image is checked. And I'm going to hit OK, and then I'm going to hit print. And then I'm going to move this to the other side to the page, and I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to print. So now we have all of our pieces printed, and all we have to do now is piece them together. And to piece them together, we are going to trim the white off of this side and trim some of the white off of this side. To trim the white off of this side, I am simply just going to place my ruler on my image and line it up with the edge of the image, lining it up so that I can cut the white off of it. I'm gonna leave a little bit of the image hanging out over the ruler because I left an overlap, so I'm not worried about cutting off the edge, cutting too much off of the picture. So I'm gonna trim this side and then trim some of the white off of that side. We have our pieces trimmed down. We have the pieces trimmed down. And so as you can see, I trimmed off the white on one side and I trimmed off some of the white on the other side, leaving just a small piece of white here so that I can have something to lay the image down on and secure the image here. Now, when you cut the edges off, you want to make sure that there's no white showing in your image, because you don't want that white to leave a line of demarcation on your image, because if there's white there, when you press your image, it's going to press and leave the white there. So you want to make sure that you cut all of this part off. So we're going to now tape our image together. And to tape the image together, you are going to take your heat tape and you are going to put a piece under the bottom like so. And you're going to do that all the way up the image. So you put the heat tape under on the reverse side of your image, of your paper. You put it on the reverse side of your paper so that when you line it up, it will stick and it will stay lined up. So we're going to line this up, and once we line it up, then we're going to flip it over. So you want to make sure that you line it up perfect so that there are no white pieces, and you want all of the lines to match so that you can have it as close to perfect as you can get it. Here we have our image lined up almost perfect. There are some little imperfections here, but it's not going to matter because once we add the rhinestones to it, nobody's going to pay attention to the small imperfections. So after we line it up, we're going to flip it over, and then we're going to tape all the way down the seam. So you're going to take and tape all the way down the seam. And now we're ready to press. Once we have our sublimation design printed and taped together, we can cut out our rhinestone template in Cricut Design Space. To do so, you would open up Cricut, open up a new project, go to Upload, Upload Image. You will browse to where your image is, and you would select the template that you want to use for your sublimation design. And select OK. You would select, it comes in as a cut file, you would hit Upload. You would do that for both images that you are going to put rhinestones on. Comes in already a cut file, hit Upload. You would select both images and add them to your canvas. So we want to make sure that both of these images came in at the size per the instructions so that we can add them to our sublimation image. So here we have the cute file, and according to the instructions, the cute file should be 8.555 by 5.863. So we want to check to see if that file is the correct size. So according to the measurements here, we have 8.555 and 5.862. And it's not 3, but it's 2. And so we're not going to bother it. We're going to leave it that way. So that's the correct size. Then we have the out here being piece. And according to the instructions, this should be 9.91 by 2.932. We're going to go to Cricut and we're going to make sure that this size to 9.91, which it is off a little, and we're going to unlock it, and then we're just going to give it that little 1, because to me I feel like that's way off. And then we're going to lock it back, and then it is 2.932 should be the width, and we have 2.931. That's off just a little bit, and I'm not going to worry about that one. And once we size it to the size according to the instructions, then we can select Make It. Now, if this is your first time cutting rhinestone templates, please go to my video on how to make a rhinestone t-shirt with Cricut Explore Air 2 for a more in-depth tutorial on sizing your template. Okay, so here we are at the heat press, and I already have my shirt and my image on my shirt. I've pre-pressed it Rennet rolled it and taped my image down. My heat press is now at 400 and set for 60 seconds. And so I'm going to put the butcher's paper on top of the image, and we're going to press it. All right, we're going to let that cool down some, and then we're going to place our rhinestones on it. Okay, all cooled off. Remove the butcher paper and remove our image. And I am subbing this on a 100% polyester t-shirt that I got from Walmart. It's a, what is it? A No Boundaries t-shirt that I got out of the activewear section. Okay, so we have our image pressed, and now we're going to place our rhinestone templates on top. Okay, so we have our rhinestones placed on our image, and so now we're going to press this at 350 temperature for 30 seconds. Put some more butcher paper on top just to make sure that we cover up the sublimation ink and it don't get on our heat press. Okay, so we pressed it. We're going to take the butcher paper off. We're going to wait for it to cool down a little bit before we remove the backing off of the rhinestones. We're going to give it a minute so it can cool down. So now we are going to remove the backing off of the rhinestones. And then for good measures, we're just going to press it again to make sure that all the rhinestones adhere to the shirt. And I'm probably going to press it for like 10 seconds. And that's our shirt. All finished. All right, guys, that's all for now. If you like this video and would like to see more, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll respond back. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.